I know why you're here. You're here to see some shiny space sim goodness, and that is exactly what I'm prepared to show today, because this is Limit Theory Development Update number 13, January 2014. Guys, it was a really good month for development. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. This is an exciting time to be alive. January was a great start to what's going to be a great less than 1 year of development. Now, I would be lying if I said it was a graphics month, but we do have to start with graphics because that's what we always do. So in terms of graphics, things are looking shinier, you might notice. In particular, we got some nice new chromatic aberration, much more subtle but much more pleasing than it was before. I've integrated SMAA, which is highly advanced anti-aliasing technique. Thank you, George Jimenez and Crytek. You guys are amazing. It really blows all aliasing away, which is pretty awesome. Other than that, we have some improved bloom, and I'm sure some other stuff that I'm forgetting, but the point is, minor improvements. Yeah, it looks shinier, not really the point of this month. So we won't spend much time on it. You know, metal's looking better. Tee-hee, always have to say that. But this month was really about the HUD, that head-up display, which was pretty much completely absent before, but now it's in really good shape, actually. So my goal for this month was to take the technology that had already been developed for that node-based UI that I've been, showing off and flaunting for the past few months. I wanted to take the tech for that and bring that into a form that would work for a head-up display, that would work for, putting information on the screen in an accessible way and interacting with the world in a way that makes sense for a game. So that's what I dedicated my month to, and that is exactly what I accomplished, or at least I hope you agree. So we need to talk about the tech behind the HUD. First of all, it's 3D. So this whole surface is painted on a cylindrical 3D surface, which is pretty cool because previously everything was just kind of projected to the screen, which was okay, but it didn't look as immersive as this. I hope you can feel that there's this kind of 3D tilt to it that feels nice. Most modern games do that, so hurrah, Limit Theory is a modern game. What do you know? Before we move on, I want to mention these bars on the top and the bottom of the screen. I'm sure you've noticed. Some of you are probably going to be driven crazy by them. I apologize. This is called cockpit mode, and I discovered it this month, and I actually really like it. It's where I basically just blur the edges of the screen that aren't on the cylinder to which the HUD is mapped, and it just, I don't know, it feels like I'm in a cockpit. I mean, like a really minimalist cockpit, but I don't know. It works for me. It's an option. It'll be an option. Everything's an option. So don't worry if it strongly offends you. You can turn it off. I'm going to leave it on during the demo because I like it and it makes me feel immersed in this lovely universe. So on the bottom right, I'm going to show you this pretty little gratuitous shiny graph. And what I'm going to say is I've worked a lot on the rendering technology for the interface. In fact, this month I wrote a dedicated renderer specifically for the Node UI that makes it possible to A, draw a lot more with a lot higher performance, and B, draw cooler, more custom things. So I just hope you notice as I go through this UI that there's this graph and this radial reticle in the center of the screen. There's just lots of cool stuff going on. Now, speaking of cool stuff, I just popped out my ship display from the top right. So that was a widget that was on my HUD, and now I've popped it out into full screen. So in general, this is a pattern that you're going to see in the LT HUD, is that you can pop out a widget into a full screen version. And so this is basically the ship viewer that I've been showing you last month, but now you see that it's in the context of a HUD widget. So I can just pop it out, and then I can explore, everything that I can get to for my ship, basically my hard points, my cargo, and whatever else there may be in the future. Keep in mind that all of the content that I'm showing is still placeholder and still very basic. What's important is the systems behind it, and the fact that stuff like this is possible, that I can actually show something on the HUD and then I can pop it out to a widget. That's really what this technology is all about. So the content here is still very basic, very minimal, but it'll get more complex. The important thing is that the systems are in place. But I want to show something before I move on. This lovely little nugget of a discovery is called Glass HUD, or I call it Glass HUD. And what it is I don't know. It's just a cool graphical effect I found for compositing the interface on the screen, and I quite like it. It's like a minimal. I don't know. It's just very immersive, So this could be a mode in the final game. I think I would use this mode actually because it lets you see it lets you see the background very clearly while still being able to see more or less the information on your HUD. So I like it. It feels like the glass is etched or something on your monitor. I don't know. It's just a cool effect. I like it. I'm excited about it. I'm definitely a proponent of minimal UI and like minimal HUDs, especially because I like to see the game world when I'm playing, especially when there's a game world that looks as good as this. Not to brag or anything, but those nebulas, they do look pretty good. Okay, but back in normal mode, and now I want to show the real meat of what I've worked on with respect to the HUD. And to show the power of it, I want to introduce the concept of workspaces, which you can see these 3 dots up here at the top of the screen. Those are representing the different workspaces that I have available for this particular interface, which happens to be the HUD, as you already know. So those of you who are familiar with Linux probably already know what a workspace is. For Windows users, for example, a workspace just means like you can have multiple desktops and you can have different stuff on each of them. So I wanted to introduce that concept for the UI so that we could switch easily between different interfaces that are associated with kind of the same group of interfaces. So I've just switched here, and what is that? I don't know. We'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. But I was just showing you that I can switch very easily between the workspaces on my HUD. And you can think of these as being modes, like modes for your head-up display. In particular, these modes are modes that correspond to different activities that you can do with your equipment. So the one that I just showed, which is probably piquing your interest, hopefully, is the scanner mode and the scanner workspace. And that's what I'm going to show today because it's actually a little bit of gameplay. Meet your active scanner. So scanning and information acquisition in LT is actually, it's a big part of the game. And part of that is the discovery of information and actually like figuring out where objects are. So what you're seeing right now is the raw output of your scanner. This is showing you the signature that your scanner is detecting from the world. So you can see there's this kind of circle in the center of the screen. That circle is kind of the region that my scanner is looking at the moment. Now I can change the size of that circle, and I will in a little bit. On the outside, what you're seeing is basically a graph of the signal that my sensor is receiving. So right now, there's pretty much just noise. There's no real pattern that you can detect so that means there's either a really weak signature or there's no signature in the space that I'm currently looking at. So there's nothing of interest there. Now, there will be different signature types, but that's not implemented yet. But basically, this is a mechanism for finding things that are interesting, finding ore-laden asteroids, finding enemies that, are emitting heat, finding radioactive signatures from nuclear warheads or from jump holes. Now watch what happens as I move towards this jump hole. You see that jump hole in the distance? Look at what's happening to my scanner. You can see that graph is really spiking. If I move to the right, it goes back to normal. Just noise, but then slowly as I move that jump hole into the field of view of my scanner, you can see that it's starting to pick up a strong signal. So that shows you that basically you can use this tool to discover things like jump holes. And that'll be a central piece of the gameplay. Now I hope you can think of this not as a mini game, but rather as a real piece of first-class gameplay, because this isn't actually, it's not a gimmicky mini game. At least I don't think so, because it's really the raw output of your sensor. This is real in the sense that is the signal that you're getting. Now you can see I can change the size of my sensor aperture, and as I close it, I get a stronger, more focused signal. So you can see I'm right over the jump hole right now, so I should be able to tell with precision where it is. So in general, when you're scanning for an object, what you're going to want to do is you're going to sweep with a very broad aperture, or a very wide cone first of all, and then you're going to slowly narrow it. So I've just picked up a signal over this region. It looks to be a pretty broad signal. As you can see, I'm getting a very strong signal from this area, so I'm going to go investigate. We're going to try to hunt down an asteroid that has some valuable raw material in it. Most asteroids are just kind of rock, but some have, of course, mineable ore in them, and we're going to try to find that ore based on the signatures that our scanner is detecting. I'm going to try to hone it down a little bit, figure out exactly where it is. Okay, so it sounds and looks like the signature is strongest in the bottom right-ish area. So I'm going to head towards this area. Now notice that your scanner is both a visual and an auditory thing, so hopefully you'll learn to use it in both capacities. I'm going to shrink it on this. Look at that. It looks like I need to verify, but I think this one is the winner. Yep, look at that. I'm getting a strong signature when I focus on this asteroid. That means that there's ore in that puppy. Now, if mining were implemented, we would be able to extract. Sadly, player-side mining is still not implemented. So the best we can do is sit here staring at our discovery, knowing that in a world where this game were finished, we would be making money. Until then, I'm just going to shoot it, because what better way to pass my time than shooting an inanimate object? So, that's pretty cool. We actually used our scanner actively, manually, to discover an ore-laden asteroid, and again, we would be able to mine that if it were implemented. Now I'm going to do it again just for kicks, because that was a little bit too easy. I was actually surprised that I found it that quickly, that I found one that quickly. So I'll try to find another one. Wow. And it looks like got lucky again. So you can see I've really landed on a patch of these because I found those two pretty effortlessly. So this would be a good location to mark in your journal and remember, because it looks like I've really struck gold there. So that's pretty cool. So scanner gameplay could be used for a lot of different professions, but of course mining will be one in particular that will use that heavily. Now, you can see this AI, this NPC over here, as I focus on them, I'm also getting a very strong signature. Now that's because they're in cruise mode, and they've got some pretty hefty thrusters on, so they're going to be emitting a very strong signature. So you can use your scanners, of course, to find not just ore, but people, or ships. So you can see, over here I'm getting nothing. For some reason, I'm not getting a signature from the station. I think that's a bug. I should be getting something from the station, but I'm not. Anyway, I should fix that. But so that guy is, I mean, look, he's like really peaking my whole graph. So it'd be pretty easy to find him, but then again, it is pretty close range. So I think it should go without saying that sensors fall off with range as well, with distance. Now I'm guessing that this little rock that he was after, yep, that is a rich asteroid as well. So there's a technique. You could use the AI to find asteroids, to find ore. That's a valid strategy. Now I want to show a 3D world space overlay of the nodal interface. This is just a cool side effect of the fact that we're using a full 3D interface. We can actually integrate it in the game world. So you can see I'm actually I'm seeing the hard points of this NPC ship, and I'm seeing like a holographic overlay of that ship projected onto the world, which is pretty cool because I can actually see like his cargo and everything in world space. Pretty neat, and I'm gonna punish him just because, for no real reason. Now to be honest with you, I'm not totally sure how this this little piece of the interface is going to work, like the world space stuff. All I know right now is that it looks really cool. Like, I can pull up this hologram of my own ship. It's pretty neat. Now, in all honesty, it's the same as this thing. It's overlaid in world space, like as it actually would be. And see here I can see the station, I can see the contract board, which I showed you last time, but now I'm actually looking at it as it is in real 3D space. So again, I'm not 100% sure of how all that's going to work out in terms of interaction and you know, what you're going to be able to do and all that. I'm still working on the concept for those, but I've got a lot of cool technology and a lot of cool ideas in the works, as you can see. I'm going to play around with glass mode a little bit again, because I think it's pretty cool. In particular, when you use it for an overlay, it looks pretty interesting. It really does look like glass, doesn't it? I think it'd be pretty cool to have an interface like that. So yeah, keep in mind that most of this HUD content is placeholder. The scanner is a little more developed than the other stuff, but the point is it's showing the new rendering capabilities and the new HUD overlay. So all of that is really generalized tech. It's going to be super easy to add new stuff in the future, add new pieces of gameplay, new HUD widgets, you know, new modes, new workspaces. It's all going to be really easy, which is always what I aim for. Whoa! Just going to pick up and drag that station. Yeah, I wanted to show this just because I've been working on node interactions this month as well, and like in particular, I now have dragability, which is pretty cool. I can actually drag nodes in world space now, and so I just really quickly implemented something where like I can actually drag objects by dragging their nodes. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing this in the game. You won't be able to do that, but it's a fun little debug tool for me. I can like throw stations around. I guess I already killed that guy. I want to show the dynamic lighting by throwing a ship around as I'm blowing it up, because it's a pretty cool effect. There we go. There we go. Torchlight. Yeah, see that dynamic lighting? Pretty weird. Throwing ships around. Again, not a real feature. Just showing that nodes are getting more powerful by the day. Better watch out. So, it is with great regret that I say that is about all I have to show you today, but that was a fairly extensive little monthly update, and man, I'm really happy with that scanner, and I'm really happy with the HUD. It's been a good month, and I'm very excited to see where this HUD takes me, because it's going to be really easy to implement new gameplay now. One final note, I just want to make a very quick note about performance, because I did work a bit on optimization this month. I just want you to know the LT engine is very performant, it's very efficient, and it's not a hog. It does not require a super cutting edge computer. I'm running it right now at about 80 frames per second on a 560 GTX 2-year-old gaming computer. Not bad, but not state of the art either. I can run it at about 30 FPS on my MacBook Pro, which has an Intel HD 4000 integrated chip, very low powered. So that should give you some idea. Some of you have expressed concerns about being able to play the game. Honestly, if you have a laptop or a desktop that's 1 to 2, maybe 3 years old, you should be fine. This is not a super high-powered game, so just want to mention that because again, I've been working to make it even better this month in terms of performance. So good month. Hope you'll join me next month for more excitement. Thanks for watching and thanks for supporting. Bye, guys.